Have you ever run your fingers over a pair of corduroy pants or a jacket and felt those distinct raised lines running down the fabric? That ribbed, soft yet sturdy material is called corduroy. It's one of those fabrics that instantly feels nostalgic, something that reminds people of old-school fashion, childhood clothes, or even cozy fall outfits. But behind its signature ridges lies a fascinating story that weaves through centuries of craftsmanship, evolution, and cultural significance. So today, let's take a deep dive into what corduroy really is, where it came from, how it's made, and why it continues to be loved by people all over the world. Let's explore, right here on History of Simple Things. At first glance, corduroy looks like a patterned fabric, but it's not printed or embroidered. The secret lies in its texture. The parallel ridges or cords that you can see and feel are actually woven into the fabric itself. These ridges are called wales. The term wale refers to the vertical ribs that run down the fabric, and they come in different thicknesses. A piece of corduroy with fewer, thicker wales looks chunky and rugged, while one with many fine wales appears smoother and more refined. For example, a 4-wale corduroy will have only 4 ridges per inch, giving it a heavy, bold appearance often used for outerwear. On the other hand, an 11-wale or 14-wale corduroy has thin, close-set ridges perfect for trousers or shirts. This variety gives corduroy its incredible versatility. It can look rustic and casual or polished and elegant depending on how it's made. So, how exactly is corduroy made? It all begins with a plain base fabric, traditionally woven from cotton or a cotton blend. The fabric is woven in such a way that extra sets of yarns are inserted to create what will eventually become the pile, the raised part of the fabric that forms the ribs. Once woven, the fabric is cut between these pile threads, which causes the ends of the yarn to stand up, creating those distinctive soft ridges. This cutting process is delicate and precise, requiring special machinery to ensure the ribs are even and don't fray. After cutting, the fabric is brushed and sometimes washed to give it a softer texture and to lift the pile, giving corduroy its characteristic velvety feel. Modern corduroy can also be made from synthetic fibers or blended materials to improve durability and stretch, but the traditional cotton version remains the most popular and authentic. The name corduroy itself has an interesting backstory. Many people assume it comes from French origins, often claiming that it comes from the phrase corde du roi, meaning cloth of the king. It's a romantic explanation, but most historians agree it's actually just a myth. The real origin likely traces back to 18th century England. The word corduroy is believed to have come from cord, referring to the ridge texture, and duroy, a coarse wool fabric that was popular in England during that time. Over time, corduroy evolved phonetically into corduroy. So rather than being a royal fabric from France, corduroy is truly a British innovation with practical working-class roots. In fact, corduroy's earliest ancestors go back even further, all the way to ancient Egypt. Historians believe the earliest version of pile fabrics, called fustian, was woven in the city of Fustat near Cairo, around 200 AD. This fabric was made of cotton and had a soft, raised surface, much like velvet. It was later brought to Europe, where it became popular in Italy and England. By the 1700s, English textile makers in places like Manchester began refining the technique, producing what we now recognize as corduroy. Because it was durable, warm, and comfortable, it quickly became the fabric of choice for workers and laborers. Miners, farmers, and railway men all wore corduroy trousers and jackets. This earned the fabric the nickname the poor man's velvet because it resembled the luxurious velvet worn by the wealthy, but was far more practical and affordable. As time went on, corduroy made its way from the working class to mainstream fashion. By the 20th century, it had become a staple in everyday wardrobes. In the 1950s and 1960s, corduroy became associated with academia and intellectual style. Think professors, artists, and writers wearing corduroy blazers with elbow patches. During the 1970s, it gained massive popularity as part of the retro aesthetic, appearing in everything from flared pants to overalls, skirts, and jackets. Its textured look and earthy tones made it a perfect match for the bohemian spirit of that era. Then in the 1990s and early 2000s, it made another comeback, especially in preppy and vintage-inspired fashion. Today, corduroy continues to reinvent itself in modern clothing, seen in high-end fashion runways, streetwear, and even accessories like caps and bags. Corduroy also carries a certain cultural nostalgia. It's a fabric that feels familiar, comforting, and timeless. Maybe it's because many people associate it with childhood clothing or school uniforms. Or maybe it's because it evokes the charm of vintage fashion, when clothing was made to last and tell a story. Even in films and television, corduroy has made memorable appearances. From Wes Anderson's whimsical characters to indie movie wardrobes that capture a thoughtful artistic mood. Its enduring popularity proves that corduroy isn't just a trend, it's a textile that's deeply woven into our cultural and emotional fabric. So the next time you see or wear corduroy, take a moment to appreciate what's beneath those ridges. It's not just a patterned cloth, it's a material that carries history, craftsmanship, and character in every wail. From Egyptian looms to English mills, from factory workers to fashion icons, corduroy has traveled across centuries without losing its appeal. It's a perfect example of how something practical and humble can become timeless and beloved. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. If you enjoyed this video, please check out our other bingeable channels. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.